Part 2. So as I left off, I had to go to ticket for court. I had to go to court for a ticket, and I was really young. I was like maybe 20 years old, between 20 and 19. And this was it was either a speeding ticket, it was some kind of ticket. I know I had to pay a ticket, and I had the money, and so I got to court. The officer that gave me the ticket was there, and the judge called my name, and I stood up and told me to approach the bench, and gave me the eighth degree. And I said, "Well, Your Honor, I just want to pay the ticket and go home." He's like, "You don't want to fight?" And I was like, "No, I don't want to fight, Your Honor. I just want to pay the ticket and go home and pay the court costs." He said, "Well, that's like $300." I said, "Yeah, I know. I did the math. I got it covered. I got someone else to actually do the math, but I did the math in my head, and I kept coming up with like $500, and it was not right. But I wanted to pay the man the money because I just wanted the shit to be over with." And so the judge goes, "Mr. Williams, why do you not want to fight?" I said, "Well, Your Honor, he said he had it on video." I said, "I can't dispute video." And I also told him, I said, "He's a white man. I'm a young black man. His word has value. He has a badge. My word has no value." I said, "One, I don't know if I was speeding, but I also don't want to have problems with the police because at this time, cops were still having an issue. Cops on the news were beating up Mexicans. Oh, people think I'm Mexican, even though I'm not. I'm just Cherokee, not Mexican. But, you know, to anybody else who would not know by looking, assumed that I was Mexican or Hawaiian. So, with that being said, and I told him, I was like, well, cops tend to always outweigh the problem. And if I don't pay this ticket, he could pull me again. And if at least I pay the ticket, I'll pay the next ticket, and the next ticket, and the next ticket. And he's like, "Why are you paying the tickets and not fighting?" I said, "Well, one, he said he had it on video, and Cruisers had police video since like 91 or something. Whenever the hell the Cops TV show debuted, they started having video and stuff. So it's like, there's no way I can dispute the video. No, you can't dispute the video. The video, at the time, I didn't know videos could be doctored, but, like I said, he has it on video. He has me dead to rights. So I'm going to pay this court fine and this ticket, and I'm going to go home. And I'm going to walk home because my car is at home because it was downtown Charlottesville, and I wasn't going to pay to park to pay a parking ticket or a speeding ticket or whatever ticket I was paying for. So he's like, "Young man, why do you assume that I'm always going to believe the cops?" I said, "Well, Your Honor, if I can be honest." He said, "Yes, please, you are in a court of law. You have to be honest." I said, "Well, it's not just because he's a cop. It's because he's a white cop. You're a white man. I'm a black man. And I know for a fact that black people in court, because every person I've ever talked to about being black and going to court, we have never had really good outcomes. And the juvenile judge that gave me my license told me that she never wanted to see me in court for a speeding ticket. And where am I right now? In court for a speeding ticket with a cop who has it on video. So I just want to pay the ticket and go home." Now, surprisingly enough, the judge dropped the charges. I didn't see that coming. There were tears in my eyes, and I had went into detail about how racist the cops were, and at the time, the cops were very racist towards people of color. Clearly, the judge had his ear to the ground, and he knew that, yeah, these cops don't give black people a warning. You just slap them with a fucking ticket. Like, fuck you, here you go. And so he looked at me and said, "Young man, you don't have to pay my ticket. You're going to get the charges dropped. You keep your money and put it towards something that you need, like an education, which you seem to have because you apparently had a good case here." And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, "Your Honor, I'm going to pay the ticket." He's like, "You don't have to pay the ticket. The charges are dropped. Do you understand what that means?" I said, "I understand what that means. I also understand that I should probably pay this ticket." He's like, "You're not paying this ticket. Now get the hell out of my court." And basically, he let me go. And he said, "Watch your speed. I don't want to see you back in here for another speeding ticket." And I never went back for a speeding ticket. I went back for some other bills, like dental bills, because I lost my job and shit like that. But for that, and that racist incident, and there were so many racist incidents happening with cops and racial profiling before it had a term, I didn't have to pay the ticket. And that there was one of the things that sparked me to not wanting to stand up for myself anymore. I started standing up for myself in damn near everything now. And then I would revert back to going to pay the ticket. Now, sometimes, because, you're guilty, you're guilty. And right is right, wrong is wrong. And sometimes you have to do a little wrong to accomplish a lot of right, but that's not always the best way to approach things in life. You have to have a plan. So every time I've gotten a ticket after that, I've just gone and paid the ticket because I figured there was no way in hell I could ever get the same judge. There's no way in hell I could ever beat the video and stuff like that. And so I paid the ticket. And it also depends on jurisdiction. For it being the Charlottesville cop, the judge was fairly lenient. And sometimes you cannot be paying attention to your speedometer when you're paying attention to people crossing the street because you don't want to run somebody over. And this judge was probably the best judge I ever had in my life. And then when it came to other tickets, it really depends on that cop. Now, I don't know in the ticket that I didn't pay if that cop had a bad reputation. Or maybe he was meeting his quota exceptionally fast. Because, judges and them do look into that shit. You this dude got 20 tickets under his belt in less than a year. He just handing out tickets like they fucking candy or something. And maybe that might have been how I got off. I don't really know. I know the judge let me go. I didn't have to pay the $200 plus the $50 court fee. And I had $300 and some change in my pocket that went right back into the bank and whoever else I owed money to. And I watched my speed. But every now and again, I have been known to slip up. In fact, the very last speeding ticket I got was because I was listening to Puffy Amiyumi. And I was going down Derry Road. And a cop walked off his his motorcycle, and flagged me on over because I was doing more than 30 in the 25. And now that speedometer there is 35 miles an hour, and I was doing that before that speedometer was there. And I was going uphill. I wasn't looking at my speedometer. I'm guilty of sin. I'm jamming and just rocking. And he goes, and I'm like, God damn it. He said, you know you're speeding, right? And I was like, no, I didn't know. He said, I know you don't know because I seen you. When you came around that corner, your head was bopping. I seen your head bopping from the second you drove that little yellow car around the corner and you was just jamming. He said, what are you listening to, by the way? I said, oh, I'm listening to some Japanese music. Oh, is that cool? I said, well, it's cool for me. I had just heard of Puffy Amiyumi. And it's like, okay. Well, here's your ticket. No, speed limit is 25. You should probably not do more than 30 when you're coming through here again. And we shook hands. We talked maybe 15, 20 minutes because I am a talker. And then I drove off. I went downtown within the 2-week time period because he said he'd give me 3 weeks. He did. I went in 2 weeks. I had made the phone call and said, yeah, you can come pay it now. You don't have to wait for the date. And so I went in and I paid it. And he was there. And he's like, you here early to pay this ticket? I said, look, dude, I got to pay this ticket while I have the money. Because if I don't pay it while I have the money, there's no telling if I'll be working again. That being said, I paid the ticket. But ever since then, I haven't had a ticket. But I've had a lot of speeding tickets. And then I've had incidences with cops that were bad, but not like Rodney King ass whooping type bad. And I've always given the risk. I've never resisted police from doing their job. And the one time that the second time they put me in the bracelets is one of my cousins stole a car and I was driving it and I didn't know that I was driving it. And then when they told me, I was just like, okay, because there's no point of resisting. I'm in the vehicle, I'm in the driver's seat, so I'm guilty of sin, but I didn't steal the damn thing. And that was the guy stole me twice in the face and broke my glasses and stuff like that. And then the time after that, another one of my cousins got me in trouble because he left me with his two cousins who were fighting over a cigarette. Yeah, we got handcuffs on that too. So, you live and you learn. And you learn from other people's experiences, good or bad. Now, what does that have to do with racism? In all those cases, those cops were white. All right. The only case of a black cop I ever had was like when I first really started learning how to drive out of town, and I was on 250, and I got a Goochland County officer follow me from Goochland all the way to Zion Cross Road, and he said, "Now, when you get to this light, you take that left, and I'm gonna take that right, and you better do 65 all the way there. If your gas hand go over 60, your speedometer goes 1 mile over 65, I will turn my car around, and I will come back and get you." Now, it's the same thing he told me on 250. He said, "You're going to ride 55 all the way to Zion Crossroad. If that shit hits 56 miles an hour, I will take your ass all the way back down to Goochland and lock you the fuck up." Man, that shit stayed at 54 miles an hour. The whole time he was on me. He was just waiting. I'm nervous and scared as hell, trying not to make that damn needle go any higher. Like, just stay at 54, stay at 54, stay at 54. Whole time, my eyes never left that speedometer, which is dangerous because they barely were on the road. I was just watching the speedometer, watching the cop, watching the speedometer, watching the cop, barely watching what's in front of me because I'm so scared that I'm going to jail. And this is a black cop. So, you live and you learn. And after that, you know, is when I decided, you know, I want to make movies so I can teach Kung Fu for free. Now, way after that is when I started making movies. But prior to that, I'm still in my 20s. I'm still in school. You know, I want to be a police officer, and I just started having all kinds of run-ins with cops. And I'm like, yeah, and these stories have jumped all over the place time-wise. So, just so did you know. But yeah, up until my 27th year of life, I wanted to be a cop since I was 6 because it was the closest thing to being a superhero. And then I started having all kinds of issues with people and racism and things like that. And it just went to hell from there. So I decided, okay, this might not be the thing for me. And then I had a dream shattered because I wanted to be a state trooper, but I was too short. Nowadays, they're against that because now they have discrimination laws. And no, because at 44 and I've replaced hip, I probably couldn't pass the physical to be a state trooper. So that's pretty much out. But I am in college now for ethics and business because I'm trying to get a degree in police science or criminal science and criminal justice. So that's good. So I know I got off track. Now I'm going to get back on track and then probably make a third video. So in Charlottesville, one of the most difficult things that ever happened to me, and as a grown man in my 20s, this happened on West Main Street, and it hurt my feelings so bad that I had to speak up, and I shouldn't have. I should have just kept walking, but I couldn't. Because when people do something wrong and it's racially motivated, you probably should speak up. Probably don't want to go to the exceptional rule that I did, but you probably should speak up. At least a little bit, And I was coming home from one of my jobs. I think I was coming home from my job at the university. And if it wasn't from one of my jobs, then it was coming home from somewhere. And as I was coming home, this young lady, she was a young white lady, and she was on the same side of the street that I was on. And Mount Zion's church was there, and that's where she was. Now I'm at the side where the train station is, so we're on the same side of the street. I'm just up higher on the sidewalk. And she looked up and seen me. I seen her looking up and seeing me before she seen me seeing her. But I knew she looked at me, because she looked at me for like 3 minutes before she even got to the church. And I had watched her. She just didn't know that I was watching her watching me. And when we got to where she got to the church before I got to like maybe the 9th or 10th tree before you even get to the place to cross the street at the church, she then went across to the side with the Bluebird Cafe, and the Three Emperors was there at the time, and now it's like a tattoo shop or something. And then she walked up as I'm walking to where she was. She walked up to where Mills is, and then she looked both ways, and she crossed the street back. Now, I had just about got to Mount Zion's church. Just about got there. And I stopped on my side of the sidewalk and watch her get back on the sidewalk. And she does one of these quick girly look backs to make sure that I'm not there and starts walking. And I was so irate, I said, oh, hell no. I'll be the same nigga that saves your life when you cross the street to the dangerous side of the street, because a lot of hoodlums used to hang out at males. And it pissed me off. I don't think she thought I was black. I think she thought I was Mexican, and I think she thought that I was going to cut her because the Mexican stereotype is that Mexicans will cut you. For no reason whatsoever. Mexicans just want to jump up and cut people. Now, that was not a racist statement. If you're Mexican and I have offended you, that was just a rumor that happened to be in Charlottesville that Mexicans will cut you. Like, for no reason. They will just jump up out of the blue and just say, fuck it, I'm going to cut you. I ain't got nothing better to do with my life, but I'm going to cut you because you're not Mexican. And that in itself kind of threw me off. My camera just went crazy, so hopefully it's still recording. Yeah, it's still recording. But anyway, so that being said, I guess that's a sign for me to stop this video. That being said, I literally was pissed. And I never really said anything to anybody about their racist actions since I had hit the white girl in the mouth in the fucking 3rd or 4th grade for calling me a nigger. And I literally dug into her ass from all the way down the street telling her about herself. I kind of regret saying it, and I kind of don't. And she looked back and said, but that's not, I said, you're a lying sack of shit. I said, you thought that I was going to do something to you in the middle of the fucking daylight because of the color of my skin. I watched you watch me as you were getting to the damn church. I said, now, there's many things that I will do, but I'm not going to attack a white woman in the middle of downtown Charlottesville on West Main Street by Mel's in the middle of the fucking day. I said, now, as dumb as I am, I'm not that fucking dumb. And she said something funny or racially distracting and stomped off. I pissed off. I turned back around and crossed the street to Mount Zion's church and kept on walking to the Sacagawea statue, just in my head, just cussing. And I'm thinking to myself, and then cuss words came out my mouth, and I'm like, I can't believe this fucking bitch did this shit to me, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't call her a white woman. I just called her a bitch. I didn't use white in front of it or any of that stuff. I just said, this bitch. I can't believe this bitch would do some shit like that. We're in the middle of fucking daylight. Where are you from that you are so scared of people of color that you're going to cross the street, go up the street, and recross the street? And it hurt my feelings so bad that she felt that scared of me that she'd have to do that. Plus, she was taller than me. So I was like, well, damn, if anything, I felt that I should be the one in more danger because she was taller than me. And I've always been worried about people taller than me because most of the people who's ever picked on me have been taller. Well, anyway, I'll have to make a 3rd video because we're almost at the 20-minute mark. But, you learn from other people's experiences. You do. And I'm going to end the 3rd video with more racially charged stuff. So, brace yourself. Excuse me.